Welcome back to my channel, where I share tips and tricks on how to get the most out of your media. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up and use Radarr. Radarr is a movie collection manager for Usenet and BitTorrent users. It can monitor multiple RSS feeds for new movies and will interface with clients and indexers to grab, sort, and rename them. It can also be configured to automatically upgrade the quality of existing files in the library when a better quality format becomes available. Sounds awesome, right? Well, stick around, because I'm going to show you how to set up Radarr, how to add your media, and how to customize your profiles. You don't want to miss this. All right, let's get into it. All right, here we are at the Unraid main page. To get started, go over to Apps. In the search box, type Radarr, R-A-D-A-R-R, like the pirate. Press Enter. We're looking for the bin hex Radarr. Click Install. All right, first thing we're looking at here we need to address is the port. By default, it uses port 7878. We need to check the server to make sure that's not already being used, so scroll down to the bottom. The second to last option there should say Show Docker Allocations. Open that up and look through the list there. And if you find 7878, then you need to choose a different port. Mine is available, so we will go back up, and 7878 will be fine for my setup. All right, next down is host path 2. The container path there is data, and this path handles the downloads. So click into there, scroll down, and we are looking for MNT user downloads. Then click off to the side. Then host path 3 is the location of the media, in this case for our movies. So there, click into there. We want the same MNT user, and this time media, and then since Radarr is for movies, we will select movies. And then click off there. Then you can scroll to the bottom and hit apply, and Radarr will download and get installed for you. And while this is downloading, I got a quick disclaimer for you. Do not download media that you don't own. If you enjoy the media, then please purchase it and support the creators. Use common sense and use this guide at your own risk. All media used in this guide was either dummy data or obtained as public domain, and therefore not protected by intellectual property laws such as copyright, trademark, or patent laws. All right, click on Done. Go up to Docker now, and you'll see bin hex Radarr listed in your list of Dockers. Over on the right-hand side, under the Auto Start column, go ahead and turn that on so it will start in the future on its own. Click on bin hex Radarr's icon, drop down, select the web UI. The first thing that pops up says authentication is required. It's a security feature built into Radarr that prevents unauthorized access. In this guide, I'll show you the basics for setting this up. So under authentication method, we're going to select that, drop down, and select browser pop-up. And what this is going to do is it will pop up a user ID and password field before it'll allow you to enter Radarr. Authentication required, we need enabled. Under username, go ahead and put in a username that you would like. In this case, I'm just going to do demo. And then do a super secret password. And then confirm your super secret password. And then click save. All right, now you're at the main page of Radarr. And as it says, no movies are found. To get started, we need to add some media. All right, let's import our existing movies. To do that, click on Import Existing Movies. And since no libraries are set up, we need to import an existing library first. So click Start Import. You want to know where to look. So scroll down, and we put our movies under the Media folder. So click Media, and then click OK. Now we click on our media path, and there's all the movies that is detected. It's now going to go through and attempt to match them up with known movies. After the matching is done, just go through your list here and make sure that everything is correct. So for 9, this one doesn't know what match it is, so we'll drop down there. And we will change the description in here. And now we will look through the list for the proper movie. In this case, it is this one here. So 9 from 2009. District 9 needs to be matched up as well. So click there, get rid of that, and then it'll research, and it is this one. Dragon Ball Z, once again, same. And there it is. Ed Wood, once again, same. So go through your media and select any that are not matched properly. Oh, there's one. There's that one. Harry Potter. Once you're happy with all your selections, at the bottom, select if you want the movies to be monitored and the quality profile that you'd prefer. In this case, we'll go with the 720 1080. Then click Import Movies, and Radarr will go through and put all of those movies in your current library into its database. And to see that, go up to Movies, and now it's going to prompt you for your login. My login was demo with my super secret password. Alright, so here you are with Radarr with a list of all the movies that it has imported. And if you click on one, let's say 9 here, it'll give you more details about the movie. As you can tell, it's got some cover art, it's got a nice background, and also a quick little synopsis of the movie. Starting at the top, this little marker icon designates whether it's going to be monitored or not. Monitoring tells Radarr whether or not to look for higher quality editions of the film. To turn that off, you can just click on that and it becomes unselected. To enable it, you click on it again. For now, I'm just going to leave it unmonitored. Next to it, you have the title of the movie. Below that, the rating of the movie, the year it was released, the length, and below that, you've got ratings from different sources. The movie database, IMDb, and Rotten Tomatoes. The next line down is the path, which is the path to that media. So in this case, it's under Media Share, and this is the folder that it's contained in. The status says that it's missing because this is a dummy text file. The quality profile that you have selected, the size of the file is listed next. In this case, it is 0 bytes, the studio that it's from, and the genres. And below that is a description of the movie itself. You can use the arrows at the top to go to the next film, or to the previous one, or you can go back to movies, and then just select a different one from the list. In this case, we will go with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Once again, same information is displayed. We don't need to monitor that one. Back to movies. So on 9 here, we know the directory was not in the proper format. So let's clean that up. If you click into that, click on the little wrench icon on the top, which is Edit. And then under the path, you can just click in there and clean that up to its proper name. Since we're going to be using Plex, it prefers that movies are listed as the movie name itself and then the year it was released. In this case for 9, it is 9 and then 2009. And then click Save, and it's going to say, do you want me to move the files, or do you want to move the files yourself? Say yes, and Radarr will move the files for you automatically. Now if you look at the media path, it's now under Media, then 9, 2009. Going back to movies here, Africa Screams is one that we got last time since it's in the public domain. And this shows you a little bit more information. It shows you the status that it is downloaded, the profile that it's looking for, and the file size. Alright, back to movies. And do a manual import. You go up to the top, click on Manual Import. You browse to the location of the file. And then you can move automatically, or you can do an interactive import. Interactive import will allow you to create a hard link or to actually move the files. Since everything's already been imported, we'll just close that. Alright, now let's go through the rest of the tour of Radarr and finish setting it up. On the left side, under Movies, you've already seen the movies there. Add New. This allows you to look for a new movie. In this case, you can type in anything you like here. Their suggestion is The Dark Knight, so we can just type in if I can spell it right, The Dark Knight. And there it is. You click on that. At this point, it gives you a few different options. You can choose the root folder that you want it to go into, which by default is the media location that you'd selected during setup, and then the folder name that'll match the movie name. On the right, it'll show you how much space you have free on your array. Then you can select if you want it monitored or not. You can select the movie only, movie and a collection, in case there's more than one, Dark Knight series, and there is. Or you can have no monitoring. Since I don't own this movie, I do not want Radarr downloading it for me. So I'll click None. The next important thing is the quality profile, and we'll get to that in a moment. But in this case, I would want Radarr to look for something, let's say in the 1080p. And then you click Add Movie. And now back in Movies, you'll see Dark Knight is listed there as a movie. Now let's go back to Library Import. We've already seen how that works, but you can choose another folder if you'd like, if you have more than one movie folder. To do that, you'd click Choose Another Folder, scroll down to wherever your share is, and if you had other libraries like documentaries or 3D movies, you'd just select that there, and then hit the OK, and it would be another option here, and you can go through the same import process. Under Collections, it'll show you a list of movie collections that you have part of or that you have all of. For the Dark Knight collection here, it says that I'm missing 2 movies and that they would be in 1080p if I selected this. They go into the media location, and then it shows you the genre that it's in. If you want to add The Dark Knight Rises in this case, you could click on that, and then hit Add Movie. You can also monitor it here, and that will monitor that to get it up to the 1080p. G.I. Joe, Hangover, Harry Potter, so on and so forth. And then Discover's kind of neat. If you click on that, it'll show you a lot of highly rated movies that you might like. And it's just like adding any other movie. Click on the title. You can have it monitored, movie only, collections, set the quality profile, and then hit Add Movie. Not going to do that, so I'll get out of that. The Calendar tab will show you any upcoming movies or releases that you have in your library. Then under Activity, it'll show you any activity in the queue, the history of anything that's happened within Radarr, and then any block lists that you have created. The queue shows all the files that you have queued up and ready for download. History shows you files that have been grabbed, downloaded, and processed throughout the system. And the block list will show you a list of the files that you have blocked from any bad downloads. Okay, under Settings, this is where all the magic happens. Alright, the first option there, we have Media Management. Go ahead and click into that. In our Plex setup video, I had talked about how Radarr and Sonar manage the renaming of the media files, and that is done here. So rename movies, go ahead and select that, and that will rename the movies as they get imported into the system. Note, this is for movies that Radarr handles, that it gets on its own and pulls down, not for stuff that you import. Although that is very easy to fix too. Alright, under Replace Illegal Characters, Windows systems do not like colons, so what this is going to allow Radarr to do is to take care of cleaning that information out. Otherwise, you're going to get bad file names. For colon replacement, I'm going to leave it on delete, but you can replace it with a dash, a space, then a dash, or a space dash space. And then under Standard Movie Format, that is how the movies will be named, and there's an example down below there. So right now it says the movie title, 2010, and then Blu-ray 1080p proper. Personally, me, I don't really care about the quality, so I will get rid of that. And below, you'll see that it has updated to reflect the new standard format. There are lots of different options you can add there. To add them, click on the little question mark at the end, and then on the left-hand side, you'll notice the darker box. On the right-hand side, you'll have a shaded box. The one on the left will show you the settings, and then the right-hand side will show you how it's actually going to look using that. So under Movie, you've got options such as the movie's title, the clean title, which obviously just removes commas and that kind of stuff, the original title, the title's first character, movie collections, the release year. There's all kinds of information. And feel free to dig through there and try out different options. Once you're done with your selections, oh, let me tell you this real quick. So let's say for some reason you wanted to add movie title, release year, and then you want an additional release year. To add these, you just click on that item, and then it'll add it down below. And then if you hit close and look back at your standard movie format, you'll see that the changes have been reflected there. Once again, I don't need a double year there, so we'll get rid of that. And you can, if you want, you can add anything you want. Let's say Bob's Movies. And it will add that information on every movie rename. We'll clean that up because I don't need that. And the next option down gives you the ability to unmonitor deleted movies. So if you delete a movie, it will automatically remove it from the monitored status, which in this case, I would like to do. Once you're done there, go up to the top, click on Save Changes. The next option is Profiles. So under the Quality Profiles, you'll see several different options here. These are the different profiles that Radarr will monitor for and will attempt to download the media accordingly. In this case, under HD 1080p, it's going to look for files that match that criteria. And the criteria that it has selected is HD TV 1080p, Web 1080p, Blu-ray 1080p, and Remux 1080p. 720, you can see the settings there. 720, 1080 HP is a combo of both. We're basically just looking for high definition. SD is for standard def. Ultra high def is 4K and above. Under any, it'll search for any quality format available. And if you open one of these up, you'll see all the different options that are available on the right hand side. And if you decide like, oh, I have no idea what this telesyn is, so let's get rid of that. Telesync, we don't need that. Cam or work prints, we don't need any of those. It allows you to update the settings accordingly. Once you're happy with your selections, you can hit save, and then you'll see that those options have been removed. The last option under the quality profiles is the plus, which allows you to add your own. To do that, click on the plus, and let's name this one Blu-ray. And let's say I only want Blu-ray quality movies for this profile. So anything that's got Blu-ray listed on the right-hand side, we will select. One last check here. All right, there you go. Then you hit save. And now you see the Blu-ray option listed up here. And this will allow you to select this profile for any of your future downloads. All right, back to the left under quality. This allows you to adjust the file size for each quality listed under the profiles. As an example, under DVD, the minimum size is listed on the left and the maximum size is listed on the right. We'll go with 780 megabytes as a minimum. So any Blu-ray that is listed less than 780 megabytes will be ignored by Radarr as a viable download. You adjust the sliders by dragging them around. And on the maximum side, you can adjust that as well. Just click on the dot and drag it to whatever setting you'd like. Personally, I don't worry about this too much, but you can go in here and adjust your settings to whatever suits your needs. I'm just going to hit reset definitions, and that puts it all back to defaults. And just so you know, the different boxes here, the blue is the minimum, the green is the preferred size, and the yellowy orange one is the maximum limit. And the data contained within these selections are based on 60 minutes worth of data. In this case here, you've got 5.6 gigabytes for 1 hour of media. Therefore, 90 minutes would be 8.3, and 120 minute film would be 11.1. All right, back to the left here, custom formats. What custom formats allows you to do is to create custom format options under your media management. So back under media management, you'll see your standard movie formats here. These options here, at the very bottom, you'll see custom formats, and that's where those come into play. So you can create custom ones, you can create them on the left here, and they'll be available under the media management. I don't need to worry about that. Next, we have indexers. Indexers are the sites that Radarr will use to look for requested media from Radarr. Under options, you can set up the minimum age, the retention length, the maximum size, and other options that suit your needs. To add an indexer, you'd click on the plus, and then select whether you want Usenets or torrents. If you have an account at, let's say, Pass the Popcorn, you can click on that. You put in the API user, the API key, and your seating ratio here. Once you have your information in there, you'd click on Test, and it'll attempt to connect. And once it is successful, the gear icon here will have a green check mark on it. Once that is done, you can click Save. But since I don't have an account with them, it's not going to work for me. In a future video, we will talk about Prowler, and that will be handling all the indexing for us. And we'll come back and set that up. Under download clients, this allows you to select the download client that you have available on your system. In the past, we've set up Deluge VPN, so we'll use that in this case. To add that, click on the plus. Under the torrents here, you'll see Deluge listed. Click onto that. The name Deluge is fine. We do want to enable it. Under host, your server IP of where you installed the Deluge VPN client. In this case for me, it is 10.0.0.11. The port number is the port that we had set up for Deluge, which in this case, it is 8112. And if yours is different, you would check that by going to your server and click on binhex plex. And then you scroll down to the bottom and show Docker allocations. And if you look under binhex Deluge VPN, you'll see that this is the IP address that it's using, and these are the port numbers. And the first one is the one that we're concerned about. So we'll go back to our Radarr setup. The port number is fine. And then the password here is the password that you set up within Deluge. So go ahead and put in your password there. And the category works as a label option that we had set up within Deluge. The recent priority and the older priority, these are the priorities used when grabbing files to download. And as you can see here, under recent priority, it says, this is the priority to use when grabbing movies that are aired within the last 14 days. Under older priority, this is the priority to use when grabbing movies that have been aired over 14 days ago. Last is fine for both, but you do have the option to go for first or last. You can have the torrent added paused automatically. We don't need that. If you scroll down to the bottom, the very last option there is to remove completed files. This will allow Radarr and the download client to delete the file once it's been fully processed. Once done, click on Test. You've got a green check mark there. It means everything communicated fine. If that fails for some reason, it's most likely your password or your server report information is incorrect. Once done, click Save. And now you see Deluge listed there as a download client. And if you have other download clients, you simply click on the plus and go through the same process to add the other ones. Over to Lists. Lists allows you to add sources from other locations. A popular one is the tracked list. If you have your own tracked user list, you can click on your tracked user, fill out the information, and it'll use that list to download movies that you have contained within that list. I don't have any, so I'll click cancel. But if you want to set it up, just go through the fields here. It's pretty self-explanatory. The biggest thing is the username, and then you just have to authenticate with Track. All right, connect is the next option on the list. And what this does is it allows connections to your media servers, and will update them whenever a change has been made by Radarr. In this case, I use Plex, so I'll click on the plus here, look for Plex media server in the list, which will bring up more details for that connection. Below you'll see all the notification triggers. So whenever a movie is imported, it will notify Plex. Whenever it is upgraded, it would notify Plex. Whenever one is renamed, it would notify Plex. It's definitely a nice feature to have turned on. So whatever options you want, go ahead and select those boxes. And if you scroll down under host, this will be the IP address where your Plex instance is. In this case, it is 10.0.0.11 for me. The port number 32400 is the default one for Plex. If yours is something different, then go ahead and put in the correct one for you. The last thing you need to do is authenticate with Plex.tv. The email address that we use to register is listed there. You click sign in, and it's all set. Click test. Green check mark means everything is all right. And click save. And now you see the Plex media server connection is listed there. The next option we have is metadata. If you're using something like MB or Kodi, they have their own metadata formats that they prefer. You can go through and set those up here. I'm using Plex, so I'm not going to bother with that. We're going to jump down to general. When we first started up Radarr, the first thing that it popped up and asked us for was some security settings. In this case, it was the basic authentication that we had set up. If you wanted to change that, this is where you change it at. The authentication option is here. You can select whichever you'd like, leaving mine on the browser pop-up. If you want to change the username or the password associated with it, you change those options there. Since I don't want to change anything, I'm just going to go with no changes. Since everything's fine for me, I'm just going to jump down to UI now. Under UI, or user interface, it allows you to make adjustments to change settings that more fit your needs. Like on the calendar, the first day of the week, we could set that to be a Sunday. I don't really care either way. I don't really use that feature. Movie format, some people prefer it spelled out 1 hour, 15 minutes. Other people prefer it just to be the total amount of minutes. I'll leave mine there. Date formats, time formats, those are probably the biggest things that people may change. Under theme, the default is set to auto, which matches your default system settings. If you'd like to override that, you can just change it to light or change it to dark. I prefer dark, but my system's already set up on dark, so I'll just change it back to auto. And for people that have trouble viewing certain colors, they have an option here to suit your needs too. The last options are the movie info language and the UI language. You can set those to whatever suits your needs. The last thing to do here is to make sure that you save any changes that you've made. So click save in the top, and you should be all set. At the very bottom under system, you'll see a little box here with a number in it. That's notifying you that there's an error or there's some notification that wants you to know about. If you click onto that, it'll show you what's going on. And it's indicating that there are no indexers available, so that Radarr will not be able to grab any new releases automatically. Down below, it'll show you information about the system. Under tasks, it shows you all the scheduled tasks and the queues that you have within the system. Radarr has several scheduled tasks that run at different intervals throughout the day, like the application checking for updates. It checks every 6 hours, and it was last ran an hour ago. It tells you how long it ran and the next time it's due to run. The biggest thing here is just to note that if you want to run something manually, like let's say housekeeping here, you just click on the double arrows over here, and that'll force that task to run. Under backup, it shows you backups that have been ran for the system. Since this is a fresh install, there are no backups. It'll do its own backups and list them here. If you want to do one yourself, you just click on the backup now, and it creates the backup for you. Under updates, it shows you the revision history of Radarr's different versions. What's been changed, what's been fixed. So it's kind of nice to know. If you're bored sometime, have a read through those. Events are different events that happen on your system. As you can see here, this last one, the backup service ran. And finally, log files. These are the log files for the system itself. If at some point you're having an error and you need to see what's going on, you can download the log file and dig through that. All right, back to movies. Since Radarr and Sonar can handle renaming movies into a proper format, let me show you how that works. So Body of Lies here, I know that one is named incorrectly. If you click into it, you'll see down below where it says Files, the relative path, and the file name down here is not very clean, so let's clean that up. To do that, the first thing I like to do is do a refresh and scan just to make sure that it's completely up to date. A couple icons over here, you'll see Preview Rename. If you click on that, it'll show you the current name of the file and what it wants to change it to. In this case, you can see that it's all lowercase and that there are some dots just randomly thrown in there and some random text at the end. And then down below, the new file name that it wants will be in the proper case, in the proper format, with all that extra stuff removed. To change that file name, you simply make sure that it's selected and then click Organize. And that's it. The file name has been changed and updated to a cleaner looking format. So there you go, Radarr set up and working. If you need help getting Prowler set up, make sure you check out that next. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.